Today, but I want to talk about critical thinking skills because I think that I'm losing them the more the AI gets more and more prevalent. And I don't really want to do that, so I'm going to try not to do that. And I read about it today, and that's what I'm going to share with you. So, I'm reading this book called Deep Work by Cal Newport. You've probably heard of it. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But basically, it was written when social media was first starting to come about, and it was basically just deep diving into the consequences of having so much information bombarded by you at the same time, such as checking email, text messages, um, just all of that stuff that takes very little time, very little thought, but it's just stimulus. And it was explaining the value of avoiding all stimulus to focus like completely undistracted on one task at hand and to further enhance your critical thinking skills, because the more that you do deep work, the better you get at focusing deep and putting effort into one specific thing, and the better it is for your brain. And that was written like when social media was coming about, hating on social media basically. And now I couldn't even imagine the consequences using AI, because social media has 101 things popping into your brain at every moment, but AI does everything for you. In fact, it can do your thinking for you. And I find even myself falling into that trap sometimes because it can do it so much quicker that you almost forget to think. And so I went down this rabbit hole today, and this is very niche, so might not reach a lot of you, but I went down a rabbit hole trying to figure out where can I even apply critical thinking skills in the modern era where AI is going to be used. Because why would I try and develop my critical thinking skills when I can use Claude Code to come up with 400 unique ideas and then battle test it out to figure out what the best 50 ideas are and then automatically add them to my software? Like, it can do it so much faster than I can. So what's the point trying to critically think through it? I'm at a competitive disadvantage. Well, I actually, funny enough, with a conversation using Claude, came to the conclusion that the solution is in the systems thinking. So you can tell Claude what to do. We'll use Claude just because I use Claude, right? You tell it what to do and it'll do it. But there's a couple of different ways you can train it. So there's this thing called a Claude.md. It's basically like, here's what I want you to do always. Every single time I prompt you, do this. Well, how you prompt it results in how it responds. So if you say, hey, go fix that thingy, it's probably going to get pretty bad results. But if you learn to be specific about it, it'll have better results. If you compound its knowledge base over time so that it constantly gets better, you get better results. If you use like Claude itself, if you know how to use it properly, you'll get better results. And so it's a step above, not necessarily, you won't have to necessarily do the implementation, but you'll have to do the management in a non-lazy manner. So you could tell it, make me a website. Or you could use this software called, this is very niche, you don't need to listen to this, it's just an example. But you could use a software called Obsidian to aggregate 50 YouTube video transcripts about how to make a good website, find commonalities between all of them, make a summary document that then is always fed to Claude every single time you make a website. And now this time you say, hey, make me this colored website for this company. Here's the description of the company, and adhere to the design specs or all the info that I fed to you based on these 50 YouTube videos. Well, you're going to get a hell of a lot better results. And the critical thinking or the deep work involved in that is understanding how it works and learning what it needs in order to be more successful, and then doing the boring part of writing all of that info that it needs to know. So again, niche, but if you basically told an AI every time that you write any code to make an iOS app, this is the specific colors that I want you to use, here's the hex codes, and then it'll go and do it. Versus if you take the lazy route and you say, hey, can you make me a file that tells Claude what colors I want it to use every single time I prompt it? It's going to go make it based on its own opinion, not on your opinion. And it's going to be probably completely wrong and not what you want. And so by customizing the beginning of this chain, think of it as like a pyramid. you're in charge at the top of the pyramid, and everything that comes from the top is a result of what your input is. And so if you use Claude itself to input into the input, the result is going to be the exact same. There's going to be no benefit. So it's like saying, Claude, make me a picture, versus saying to Claude, Claude, tell Claude to make me a picture. I don't know. What's the best example? You want a picture of a dog, a golden retriever with a collar around its neck. And you tell Claude that that's what you want, and it generates a picture. Cool. Or you just say, hey, think of an animal and generate me a picture for it. That's the lazy way out. You didn't actually have to do any critical thinking about what you want the output to be. And it generates you a picture of a zebra, but it's not quite what you want because you kind of wanted a dog. Well, you got to specify that. You have to write that. And so it's kind of like managing children. You have to teach it over time to give you what you want and hone it. And so you're critically thinking, or your job becomes teaching or training your own AI to do a better job at its job. So you're basically asserting the role of a manager, director, and trainer, and that is your job, right? And so if you think of like a retail store or a grocery store, like Publix or something, hopefully you have a Publix near you. If not, it's kind of awkward because you don't know what that is. But say you have a Publix near you. Do you think the manager is working? Well, yeah, they get paid more. So I hope they're kind of working. They may not be bagging groceries, they may not be stocking shelves, but they're doing something. Well, what are they doing? They're thinking about the system as a whole, how they interact with each other, um, employee relationships, monetary goals. That's your job now. AI is going to be the one that's bagging the groceries, that's stocking the shelves. It's going to do the actual work. Your job is just to manage it. Now, the question is what critical thinking skills does managing involve? Well, it's higher order or bigger picture thinking. Like, here's our goal, here's how we need to get there, here's the best path to get there. You could have AI do this for you. So in this situation, you have your own opinions about how you would like for the store to achieve this revenue goal by this day, and you have an idea for how you want to do it. Or you tell Claude, I want to achieve this goal, go do it for me. The results of those two worlds are going to be drastically different because it's going to do what it thinks it should do. Versus in this world where you pick what you want for the goal and you do it, the result is going to be based on your wants, not Claude's wants. Does that make any sense? I don't know if it makes any sense. I might be talking gibberish, but basically, if you tell Claude to do things for Claude, it's not going to do good things. But if you specifically put in the work to tell it exactly what you want and cater it over time and be intentional about it, it will get better. And that is where the deep work part comes in. It's not as deep as one would like. It's not like writing a book, but it's something. I'll give you more info in the future, but that's it. I'm tired and go to bed, so I'll see you tomorrow.